everyone. We are back, finally, at the end of June. Alright, so starting in this corner, we've got Vitex tree back here, New Gold Lantana, iris of some sort, bubblegum, pink, Supertunia, agave, irises, sweet potato vine right here. I used to have a purple Supertunia there, but it just didn't hang. It couldn't get through the spring in Central Texas, so we won't be doing that again. But the plant I'm most excited about are these little grasses right here. They're called Blonde Ambition Blue Grama Grass, and it is a native bunch type grass to the southwest. I think this cultivar specifically was found in New Mexico, but the native version, just like the regular blue grama grass, looks just like that, just not as light colored. So the seed heads are a little bit more of a light brown, than these are a beige cream color. And then behind the grasses, I've got a orange Tacoma stance called Blazing Star. I don't believe that's a native Tacoma, but we'll see what happens. I forgot to mention, these front beds, I think I mentioned in the first garden tour, are almost mirror images of each other, with a couple of exceptions. But right there by the tree is a peewee pink something or other Spirea by Proven Winners. And then I have those yellow plants in the back. Those are called Jerusalem Sage. And again, we've got some more of the pink verbena, some little agaves in here, a bigger agave there. And if I get really close, you can kind of see that purple Supertunia. It's called Supertunia Bordeaux. Trying to do something there, but not really thriving. I've got just a generic daisy there. And I have one on the other side too, but they're not doing too much right now. I did plant some of these Angelonia, these taller magenta flowers here, intermingled with the green actually, and the camera was not focusing there. We've got some ice plant right in here, and then this yucca, which I still don't know what it is, but I got that at one of my favorite growers. And then this is kind of new to this area. This wasn't in the April garden tour. But I transplanted these three New Gold Lantana, and then right in here are also some transplanted plants that I started from bare root. Those are the native milkweed, the orange Asclepias tuberosa, and then back behind that is geez Louise, it's an eryngium, a blue eryngium sea star, maybe blue sea star or something like that. And then I also transplanted these two, so this guy and this guy, another blazing star, and the one in front is a Mexican bush sage, or Salvia leucantha. There is quite a bit of garden maintenance that is due for our garden. But, like I said earlier, we've had T-ball since April. I'm a landscaper. My husband's an irrigator. Things are a little crazy around here, but all in due time. I wanted to record this so we have a record of it, because I cut back plants, and when I cut back plants, I cut them back hard. Which a lot of times in hindsight does more damage than good. But I just, sometimes I just need to really get out here and do something that's going to make a difference. Why am I the way that I am? I don't know. This is how God made me. And He loves me, and I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna embrace it. So a little sidebar. Earlier this week, I cut the grass. I think it was Monday. And we've been so fortunate to have a lot of rains well into June, and almost July. And I cut the grass a little low, and my husband was like, "What have you done to our grass? Blah, blah, blah. You cut it too low." Well, I'm a turf grass major, and I believe that turf should be mowed to what the recommendations are. And my husband just cares about green. And so anyways, this is a lawn that has grown in since Monday. And like I said, I'm about to do some gardening maintenance. And that grass is going to get cut. And it's going to get cut short. And I don't care what anybody says. So moving on, this is a different view of we're now inside the actual garden with the little stone wall. These little Calibrachoas, I think, have seen better days. They're a little chlorotic. I've not fertilized them as much as I should, but we'll do something. We'll probably pop those in some pots or hanging baskets. These sweet potato vines are just going for it right now. I love them so much. These super petunias are doing well, but I'll tell y'all a story about these super petunias. This patch is doing okay. Super petunia bubblegums, superstars all the time. They do great. These super petunias over here, Daybreak Charm, like I said, they're just not doing it for me. They didn't really do it for me when I planted them. They were more of an impulse buy. But you know how it goes. You give everything a chance and you see how it performs, and now you know not to buy a Daybreak Charm. But Super Petunia Mini Vista here, yellow, due for a cutback. I cut it back on the other side of the garden, and we'll kind of have a little compare and contrast on how that's doing. But anyways, these lantanas right here growing in beautifully. They do get a little bit too much shade in the morning, I suspect, which is why they're not blooming so profusely. But we've still got a couple, 4 or 5 months of growing season left. So we'll see how they do in the coming months. Mental note though, Patty, next year, go halvesies on the sweet potato vine. We went a little crazy on it this year. But again, I saw those at Home Depot, impulse buy. I said I better grab them now because next time they won't be here. And I planted them, and they look great everywhere. They really, really do. But they're just taking over, and I just feel like, I understand that they add good color to the garden, but they take up a lot of space, and space is not something that I have a lot of in the front beds. So I think next year I'll do something different. And I still will do sweet potato vine, but maybe in more select areas. Another thing also, I won't plant it probably too close to the garden border, because it is a pain in the rear when we're mowing and edging, which I'm not really good at edging. And anyway, another story for another day. But maybe like even here on this retaining wall, it looks really nice there, but it's so hard to get under there, and then you're just like hacking it back. And I just like plants to have space to do what they need to do. Anyway, this black and blue salvia here has been cut back hard twice, and it is just coming back with a vengeance. Like, it doesn't even care. But then we've got some pink salvia right here that's kind of being overtaken by the sweet potato vine. I probably will cut that back. There's got a lot of damage on it. I need a bait for snails and pill bugs and earwigs, but I will do that all in due time. Some spider plant here, spider flower actually, that I've never grown before. I've tried to start them from seed to no success. Doing well, doing really well. I'm very impressed with that. Those started off as 4-inch little babies, and I think the lantana is crowding them. Anyways, we'll see. We'll probably move some of this lantana around to some spaces where super petunias aren't doing well, but we'll get there eventually. And then I've got some rainbow ascot euphorbia, one right there, one behind that spider plant right there. You can barely see it over here. Looks pretty. That mystic spider salvia was ginormous. Like, you couldn't even see the truck's door. And that's my husband's work truck. And he was always like stepping on it or bumping into it. So I cut it back for him because I love him so much and I'm nice. And then it's just coming back crazy. It's coming back crazy, but it's a good thing because that's a tried and true plant. I've had it for a couple of years, and I love it so much that I planted some more of it right there, and in that far corner over there. Anyways, moving on. So last year, this is where I initially had that blue eryngium planted, the sea holly, and I must have not dug up all the roots because this one, these plants shot up new, and they're doing well. I'm doing my best to stake. Okay, so we're back. My camera got overheated. My phone got overheated, so I'm going to try to do this quickly. If not, I'll just like do a quick video and like put everything on the screen of what everything is. So I've got Daisy, I forget another Daisy, Autumn Joy Sedum, Then there's a dahlia right there that I just staked, and then behind that is Flame Acanthus, which is a Texas native plant. Right here next to my little garden flag is our 2 plants of Mexican bush sage, or that Salvia leucantha. We've got some little peachish orange dianthus, some Supertunia, 2 Supertunias, so Supertunia jazzberry there, Supertunia jazzberry there, and yep, you guessed it, another sweet potato vine just loving its life. This was some pink yarrow that I had really pretty stand of. It was so pretty, but we got a lot of rain in May, and they just kind of toppled over. I cut them back, and they're starting to come back. That leafy stuff right there is eucalyptus, and I'm thinking of cutting some of that in the with the idea of like pinching it so it could just get branchier and maybe not as floppy. But then we've got some purple heart and some old transplanted undivided bearded iris in this section. More bearded iris, Angelina sedum right there, back planted with some lamb's ear plants. We did have a tree here. If you remember, we took it out. It was a red maple. It wasn't doing so hot. I wasn't super impressed by it. So we put it in the back, see if giving it a little bit more shade does something. It does something to kind of help it along. But the tree is gone. It's been transplanted by a Texas kidneywood tree, which is a Texas native tree. And I'm trying to incorporate more and more natives into the garden, so it's less and less maintenance and less water, right? Because our lakes are drying up, our aquifers are drying up, and I would, if I'm being honest, I would much rather drink water and take a shower than garden. It just comes down to basic needs. But here's an agave right here. Behind that is fall aster. It's going to bloom in the fall. Ding, 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 you guessed it. If you were thinking it, you were right. And then some more of that blazing star Tacoma, that yellow one. And then I do have 2 cafe au lait plants, dahlia plants planted back there. One of them's blooming, one of them's not. I just staked them today. They look terrible. I know. I'm seeing what you're seeing. That is a weed right in front of it. But you know what? Who cares, right? Like, making memories with our son and affording him opportunities that we didn't have growing up is all worth it. And then here we're getting close to a right of color. We had 3 Supertunias planted here. One right here is kind of twiggy, you can see, is D-E-D, dead. I suspect it was snails, and some of my Supertunia fuchsias were planted right there too, and they are also dead. Very sad. We have some zinnia right here. This is the Queen Lime Red mix, or the Queen Lime Red, but it looks like a mix, but it's really all just Queen Lime Red variation at various stages of maturity. And then we have black and blue salvia. It's called black and blue because the stamens are black and the flower is blue. So black and blue. And then I do have some individual plants of coleus. These coneflowers are supposed to be a variety called like tornado or twister or something like that. And they're supposed to be like green and purple, but they're just purple. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it's user error. I don't know. This is the state of the Supertunia. Not looking too good. I also had some purple Supertunia Bordeaux planted here in the spring. Didn't do well. Not doing them again. But some Gara here, Gara back there are doing well. This is a whole plant of zinnias. I do need to come in here and just cut all these zinnias and cut these zinnias back. So there's a little bit of more rhyme or reason to this. But some of my dahlias are blooming. I think that's a creme de cassis or creme de cognac. I'm not too sure. It's a pretty dahlia. Who cares? These 2 plants right here are lemon balm. These 2 plants right here are called antelope horns, Texas natives. These 2 plants right here are called mealy blue sage, also Texas natives. Behind that are some pink phlox that are holding on for dear life. Oh, there's a butterfly in there, I think. And underneath these zinnia are some, I would say, pampas plume or some cut flower that I started from seed. But once I did get rid of this overgrowth messiness, there'll be more space for that. I did want to show you this one right here because this is called a Tutti Frutti Agastache. It's not a Texas native, and it is one of those what you would call a a cultivar or a nativar, so it's crossed with a native plant. It's native to Arizona, I think, but it's a really good hummingbird plant, and I didn't have a lot of hummingbird, not too many tubular flowers for hummingbirds, and I like pink and I like purple, so why not? But here is a back view of the Texas kidneywood tree. It's a really fine textured tree, very xeric, cactusy looking tree. That will do much better here than the red maple was, so we'll see. So we've got some dried out cosmos. Better shot of the Tacoma right there. And of course, we cannot ignore the sunflowers. The sunflowers are here. These are supposed to be called strawberry blonde. They're kind of strawberry pinkish looking there, but I can't say I'm very impressed with them. And look, you guys, look. Oh my gosh, look at all the, oh my gosh. Look at all the caterpillars. Oh, how fun. Oh my gosh. Look. Wow. See, like, the old Patty would be disgusted and bring her BT out in like minutes. But I live for this stuff now. I'm so happy that we have caterpillars because they do look ugly and spiky and I would not want to be their friends. But they grow up to be the most beautiful little creatures and pollinate our plants and make us have fruits and vegetables. And I'm not the most eco-friendly, earth-hugging person, but I do love pollinators. I do love flowers. I do love that people can grow their own food. This pot has seen better days. It has some orchid purple petunias or something, and then in the center we've got cosmos that are doing really well. Peace climbing rose needs to be transplanted, but show. But then we've got some purple homestead verbena, Elijah blue fescue, some red colored sedum, knockout roses, Miss American Beauty rose, some more sunflowers here, also have seen better days. But hey, we can pull those out and put some new ones in. But look, I don't want to because these have a lot of little baby caterpillars too. You can see right there, my phone's getting really hot, so I'm gonna have to take another break, I think. Okay, I'm back again. I had to take a break because the camera was overheating. But I think we stopped here. We were talking about the sunflowers and the caterpillars and all that. But I have these two plants here. One there, one there. And they're called bat-faced kufia. And they used to be really popular when I was like going through college and stuff. And then they kind of like dropped off the face of the world. But I found some at a nursery, and these were also 4-inch plants, and just look at them. It's called Faith in Planting. And even though you start something small, if you're on a budget, I mean, a lot of the stuff in here was started as 4-inch or from seed. So if you're on a budget, that doesn't mean you can't have a nice garden. You just have to have patience, right? And you cannot buy patience. But anyways, these supertunias are unscathed right now. Mind you, if y'all remember, when I was planting the supertunias over there on the front beds and these pink ones that are right there, I had said that I was using Color Star in there as a trial just to see, as a little experiment, right? To see if they performed better or worse, because I had planted these about a week or two before with no fertilizer, no nothing in the hole. And these, just for some reason, seem to be faring better. But is it the Color Star? Is it the fertilizer? I don't know. Just an observation. Just an observation. So I've got a Julia Child rose there. We've got some phlox here. Coleus. A little bit more Elijah blue fescue. We've got a little lantana here that I got at a native nursery. Some zinnias right there. Some more of that Angelina sedum. These plants, 1, 2, 3, I started from seed, and I believe those are going to be a flamingo feather cut flower. So it's basically a celosia, almost like a pampas plume, but it's like a light pinkish ombre flower, whatever. But here is another black and blue salvia. Here's our T-Rex dino hiding in the back. Another Miss American Beauty rose. Mexican bush sage in the back right there. And then in the front is another one of those tutti frutti agastaches for the hummingbirds. And then just some random sunflowers. Dusty Miller. This 1, 2, 3 is Brazos penstemon. Some of the cosmos back there. Here we've got some, I'm going to zoom the camera out because I feel like I'm right on top of these plants. We've got some purple homestead verbena. This is an iris, a bearded iris, that's supposed to bloom like peach, salmon, orangey color. I thought it would look pretty, but it's a really big bearded iris. And I started that one from root last year. So we'll probably transplant that later this fall or maybe early next spring, so somewhere like in the mid-level of the bed, so that there's a little bit more gradual. You know, they're kind of competing with those coneflowers that I started from bare root. Back here are some red hot poker plants that I started from root, and you know, they're getting really thick. But they've only bloomed once, and this is their second growing season. And this bloom stalk, I left it up there just because I was lazy. No other reason than I was lazy. But those will be going to another home later this fall or something because they're just not doing it for me. Not doing it, not doing it, not doing it. Anyways, here is a white blooming white pillar rose of Sharon. It's a proven winner's plant. It looks really good. I did have here in this area and here in this area of the walkway pink wave petunias, but those got really leggy and faded and chlorotic, so I gave them a big hacking back earlier this week just to see if they'll come back, which I think they will. Some are already doing that. But I need to fertilize. There's just a lot of things that I need to do, you guys. Working on it, working on it, working on it. But here I've got a little collection of Gerber daisies right there. Behind that is some peach, coral, salmon color. What are those called? Impatiens. And then right here is some black-eyed Susan rudbeckias. And then these lilac flowers right here are called society garlic. And I've had these society garlics for years, and they're finally starting to do it for me. I was like, you know what? If these plants don't start doing something this year, they're going in the trash. But I think they took it seriously, and now they're getting it together. Right behind that is our blooming crepe myrtle, which I pruned really hard, and my husband pruned really hard. And sometimes when you prune things really hard, they tend to like overcompensate. It's just been my experience. I don't know that the plant is actually purposefully overcompensating because the plant decided to. I'm sure there's something going on physiologically, which I'll do some research on eventually when I have time and I care. But right now I'm just happy that it's blooming. I don't really like when crepe myrtles like start to droop down to the sides like that, but that's mostly because their blooms are concentrated at the ends. But again, if you trim it, and I think a lot of things, most plants take very well to pinching. And so when you pinch them, and they have a little bit stronger branches, sturdier branches. And that's just something that I'm going to have to start keeping track of, because we cleaned it up a lot from down here just to kind of be able to see through. And then my husband got rid of a lateral branch that was growing like right here. I thought it looked ugly initially, but you know what? It's like everything. You just have to get used to it. Trust that it'll recover. Trust that you'll get used to the new shape. But I do want to give it a little bit of a haircut because I want this to be shining independently of this. Anyway, behind these society garlic, I have just a generic white blooming daisy there, getting ready to bud, or getting ready to bloom with a couple of buds on it. We've got 3 coleus. This is a liatris. I planted a bunch of liatris bulbs here, but I don't think that was a good idea because I don't think it gets enough sun. Anyways, you live, you learn. Impulse gardening, that's what happens. But back here is some Greg's Mist flower, great pollinator plant. purple Persian shield plants that are performing very well. This is a blue arrow juniper, some yellow cannas back there, and then we've got this creeping thyme all along this little walkway here. I'm just going to focus on this side first and we'll come back and do that. But some baby Artemisia here. This is that little collection of Gerber daisies. I really love Gerber daisies, and I figured I would just have them all in one spot. This is a marigold that I grew from seed. It got so big and leggy, it has fallen over on its side. That's the main trunk or stem. And now it's just like growing up and getting ready to bloom. We've got Burgundy Glow Ajuga here. As you walk in through here. And then these little ground covers are called Creeping Jenny. Some Supertunias that are struggling here. I suspect it's also earwigs, pillbugs, snails, all that stuff. But this is a native milkweed called Asclepias tuberosa. I thought it didn't make it through the winter, but it did. I came in here a couple weeks ago and I was like, oh, it's come up from dormancy. I was so excited. But then we've got some just red coleus here, some more of that mystic blue salvia that needs to get cut back, which this has already been cut back, but obviously not aggressively enough. My ginkgo tree, still looking a little interesting and architectural. But this is a American beautyberry, Calicarpa americana, which will be really beautiful later this fall. Coleus, some more of that daybreak charm, right there. And then this is a loropetalum that has seen better days. But you know what? I have had that loropetalum for years and years and years, probably since we first moved into this house. So I'm not giving up on it now. We've got some wisteria growing up on this archway. And then some clematis on the fronts of it. And the clematis is blooming. This is just your purple Jackmani clematis. I think this is like the OG clematis, but it is almost touching, not the clematis, the wisterias are almost touching up here. And I was a little weary because this area gets a lot of shade, especially like around 3-ish, 4-ish. But anyways, it's doing well. I'm impressed. Here's my collection of, what are these called? Heucheras. And coral bells is the common name, but this one looks like it was blooming a little bit ago, or maybe getting ready to bloom. And these all have their tags planted hidden in their foliage. But I'm just not going to do that right now because this is quite a comprehensive garden tour. But hostas here, doing okay, not doing perfect. A little bit of damage on them. These coleus are doing well. I do wish I could like get rid of some of this greenery right here and just get a little bit more light. Maybe get rid of a lot of this Spanish Mustang grape, which makes excellent jam and jelly. But it just grows like a weed out here. It's terrible. I hate it. But you know what? It's okay. It's native, and we just gotta have to deal with it. You know, everything has a place in the ecosystem. Some more Ajuga here. Artemisia. A lot of these little vines, I don't know where they're from. We never really used to have this many. I have a feeling that when we were grading our yard and bringing in all that fill dirt, not fill dirt, it was actually soil and compost and loam. I think a lot of these were in that soil, and we just got it taken over. Like I've dug out a bunch of it in that area up here, but obviously I have not gotten to this part, like this part in here, and none of that area there, as you can tell. But anyways, work in progress. No more T-ball. We'll get to it eventually. These were three other, what were these called? Calibrachoa. They're called like Tropical Punch or something like that. I don't know if I still have the tag, but I'll do some research. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4 Spanish lavenders. These for sure are Auto Quast variety. These I'm not sure. It's still the type of Spanish lavender. It hasn't really bloomed for me except for when I first bought them, at least these two. This year, I think they're getting too much shade. It's not a big deal. We'll move them and we'll see. We'll move them and then we'll see if they bloom. I think these would be a really good plant to have up by the other side of the wall, like the two mirror beds out here. Anyway, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and a quarter grasses right here. These are called dwarf fountain grasses. They're called Pennisetum something something variety Hamelin. I thought they weren't doing anything this year, but it took them a little bit to catch their stride, and they're kind of trying. These are the Daisy May daisies, both of these. Those are Proven Winners plant. This is another zinnia that has fallen over. You can see I don't take very good care of my cut flowers, but this one fell over. It's coming up a lot, and this one is an envy. So it's a green, sorry, the camera's all over the place, sorry about that. It's a green petaled flower. It's pretty. I figured I would use it more as a filler than anything. But here's another one of those Ascot Rainbow Euphorbias. They've bloomed. This is their flower, actually. And they've bloomed when I first got them, and I just need to cut them back, deadhead them. This rose right here, I started as a bare root. I think I got that at Home Depot or Sam's, or it was a big box store rose. And I don't know if I've shown y'all, but when it blooms, it almost looks like a neon ombre, pinkish, orange, yellow. It's so beautiful. It's just like, it stops you in your track because it looks neon. But anyways, I want to take a moment to appreciate this Mystic Salvia right here. This is a Mystic Salvia. It's a dwarf variety, allegedly. It's not looking very dwarf to me, but you know what? I'm here for it. I don't hate it. But again, these are 4 plants right here that I started from quart size. So a quart size is about 5 inches across. It's a little squatty. But again, these are supposed to get 12 inches by 12 inches. And these are not 12 inches by 12 inches. But you know what? It's okay because I love it. The bumblebees love it. And it's just adds so much to the garden. So I'm here for it. I did have 4 of them planted in a row, but one of them was getting crowded. So I dug it out and I planted it back there. And you can see how much smaller that one is compared to those. But you know what? It'll catch up and it's not a big deal. It's just a plant. It's going to get it together in no time. But anyways, so this is kind of the back side. I have a red Japanese maple here, some Hakana Cloa there. That's not doing too good. But again, that grass, it is marginally adapted for this area. It's not a native grass. And we're just going for it, right? We're just trying it. We like how it looks. Is it gonna do something? Is it gonna be a rock star? I don't know. But we gotta try it. If we don't try it, we will never know. So say a prayer for that one that it makes it. I also have this 1, 2. Those are called Snowball Viburnums. They didn't do much this year. They've been bulking up. You know, they say the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, and the third year they leap. So hopefully, fingers crossed, next year it really goes for it. So this section right here is a bunch of dahlias. Some are getting ready to bloom. One is getting ready to bloom, not some. One. Right here. And that looks like it's going to be some kind of decorative type dahlia, maybe an open form dahlia. I'll do a dahlia tour eventually. But anyways, this is another native shrub right here. Not sure what it's called. Not going to lie. Not sure what it's called. However, I think it's going to do it. I think it's a coral berry or something like that. I'll double check. It's got the tag, I think, somewhere. But I'm not going to do that right now. This is a white flowering dogwood that I got as a tree sapling from the Arbor Foundation. These 3, 1, 2, 3 are forsythias. This is a baby blue eucalyptus. Some more of the black and blue salvia. Fall aster right here. And then this is my deodar cedar. That's all I can zoom out. but that's my deodar cedar. Let me get on the other side. Actually, let's just keep doing this. We've got 3 apricot drift roses right here that are more pink than they are apricot. A couple of coleus peppered throughout because I wanted to do an experiment this year with my coleus. We've got some Dusty Miller. That's the silver. That's the new look variety. Then we've got some Purple Heart that are just really not doing it. But you know what? We're just going to try it. We're just going to go with it. We're just going to go with it. Here are some more Cosmos. And these are pretty. I actually haven't checked up on these in a little bit. And I'm not disappointed. Too disappointed anyway. But again, a lot of this is like trial and error. This is a new area for gardening for me. So like these forsythias I think could benefit from a little pinching so they can just get a little bushier at the bottom. But it's fine. It's fine. Some of this new look Dusty Miller not looking too good. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay because some of it does. So we just need to do a little grooming. Not a big deal. Some Salvia Greggii here. This is red. And this is more like a pinkish right here. But you know what? I can always move that later if I want to. We've got some lovely mushrooms. Mushrooms, fungi. I don't know. Whatever you want to call them. But some more of the Super Tunia Vista bubblegum. Super Tunia Vista fuchsia. These Daybreak Charm also, you know, just like... They didn't even try, y'all. I feel like they didn't even try. But it's okay. That's why they're not called a Vista. Because they're not fabulous or something. They do what they do, but they're no winners. And you know what? I just spotted some pill bugs under here. So maybe the pill bugs are not doing us any favors. But anyway, some more Mystic Salvia, or not Mystic Spire Salvia. A lot more of these vines, these lovely vines that I planted here, and just for appeal. Just kidding, that was sarcasm. But I need to do some more digging up. This is a Texas Betony shade. Something or other needs a little grooming. A little crazy. But it is what it is. So this is the same section that we were in. We're just like on the front side. We kind of came in through the back. We're on the front. This is the Texas Mountain Laurel right here. Super Tunia Mini Vista Yellow. These were cut back about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. And they were looking okay. Now they've grown in again. They are looking chlorotic. So something's definitely going on. I've got this variegated iris that I got from my friend Mia in South Dakota. And then this 3 coleuses are supposed to be a tricolor coleus. But I wonder if they're getting too much shade, which is why they're not like super vibrant like they were when I first planted them. Who knows? Super Tunia Vista bubblegum, coleus, liatris here. These all bloomed. I cut them back because they were kind of already looking ugly and tattered, and I cut them back. But this right behind is yellow echinacea coneflower. That is, I think, called part of the Cheyenne Spirit series of echinacea. But you can see some of them are like beigeish white, some of them are more yellow, and that they're all just different levels of maturity there. This one up here, this little one right here, hasn't really bloomed. That one did sustain a little bit of damage last year with underwatering, but I haven't given up on it yet. This is my, I forget what this is called. This is my bicolor Salvia Greggii. This is called Mirage, Rose Mirage or something like that. I caved this. I got this a little sheared back a little bit just to take it down a little bit so that some of the stuff in the background could show. But I like having these, I like making these little video diaries or making these videos for y'all, but even for myself, because this fall when all of these things are dormant, I can say, okay, I know how tall this got right up against the border right here. So and it's kind of covering those echinaceas, and I would kind of want them behind so I could still see the echinaceas. They're not like hiding behind over there. I like the yellow, the pink, the beige, the green, the pink, purple, green, and the purple of the Mystic Spires. Plus, these irises right here, these bearded irises, are going to be yellow. So I think eventually, maybe next year, this was a year for those irises to kind of adapt to their new environment because I divided them and I just neglected them for a long time. But it gives you an opportunity to be like, okay, I love this. I love all these plants together. I love these colors together. I love these textures together. But maybe doing them in a more gradual increase in heights so that everything can shine together but independently, if that makes any sense. Because it makes sense in my brain. But sometimes the things that make sense in my brain don't make sense to other people. But anyways, here's another view of the deodar cedar. I love it so much. I love it so much. Initially, that cedar right there was planted like all the way up here. And I just kind of thought that it was like two in the front, two kind of in your face. But it's an evergreen, it's wispy. It has grown so much. This is its 3rd year, I think. 3rd year? Maybe 3rd year. And it is just really, really going for it. I really like it. It's grown a lot. I did do some fertilizer stakes in it this year. I made a video for that, but I never posted it because I just got so busy. But I think that it's finally taking effect, or I'm seeing the fruits of that. Maybe it's taken effect from a long time ago, but I'm finally coming around to appreciating, like, getting poked in the legs and in the arms by it while I did that little baby project. But you know what? It needed to be done. And if the tree could thank me, I'm sure it would. So anyways, the last couple of things I wanted to show you is the grass. The grass is looking great. It really is. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to be cutting the front up here, the front over here. And I'm just going to be like harvesting a bunch of those zinnias, sunflowers, those Julia Child roses right there. I don't know if I mentioned that those were Julia Child roses. I'm going to cut those back, and those are moving somewhere else next year. I'm just like less than impressed with them. They smell so good and they're really pretty, but I just feel like they need more attention. They're too far in the front to begin with. Anyways, I'm thinking out loud now, but I'm just rambling. Anyway, let me go show you my front entrance garden, and then we'll wrap it up. So this is my front walk up to the front door garden. I had 2 super petunias planted here initially. One of them is gone. It is history. The other one is alive and well. We've got some angelonia, some purple angelonia in this corner. The super petunias have kind of grown in there. We've got one of those, another generic daisies here. This container is doing pretty well. We've got plumbago in the back. This is called coleus. I think it's called the French quarter coleus, but I need to cut it back because in here is my Mary statue, Virgen of Guadalupe. She's the patroness of the Americas, and I can't see her, and I want to see her. Here we've got 2 of the 3 columbines that I had planted, some lamium in here, pink, hot pink impatiens, purple heart. I used to have 3 hostas planted here, 3 Patriot hostas, and I thought they had died in the freeze because they never came up, but then my husband told me that one of them actually did. It's like in here, but it's at this point being eaten by things and whatever. But this is a Hawaiian Thai pink cordyline plant, and this is a daylily that I pulled up with intentions of planting somewhere else, and I never did, and my husband's like, she's not going to plant this up. So what he did is he just went and got a little compost, put it right there, and it is now growing there. So we'll see. But last but not least, this is one of our Japanese maples. It's not very reddish and mapley right now, but it will be in the fall again, I think. It'll color up. Initially, when I started tinkering with Japanese maples, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? It's not even turning red anymore, and it was red when I got it. Well, I've come to learn that it gets red in the spring and it gets red in the fall, and then it's green in the spring, summer. And then it defoliates in the winter, of course. But also, this is my Bubba desert willow. And I cut this back because you see how it's like the stems are so long? I did a little experiment where I cut some of the stems that I thought were too long. And they've now started blooming from like where I cut them. So like the nodes, if you will. And so I feel like later this fall, going into winter when it defoliates, going into spring next year, I think I'm going to cut it like hard so that it gets more bushy, because I really like it. The blooms are pretty, but they're so high up. And anyway, thinking out loud. But I thank you so much for being so patient. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell y'all. So I had mentioned that this area and that area right there were a little sparse. So when we top dressed this spring, we found that the compost had settled in those areas for like a really long time. And what my husband came to this conclusion, and then I was like, yeah, I think that's actually what happened, is that over the winter when he and my son were playing soccer or baseball or football out here, that is the middle part of the yard. So that's the area that had the most traffic and the most compaction. And it's also kind of low right there. You can see kind of like the indentations of the grass. And so what my husband has done is he's come and like made holes in these areas for like all intents and purposes. He has aerated these areas, and they're all starting to fill in, which is something that I'm so happy about, because I mean, not that like my garden makes me self-conscious or anything like that, but it's just like everything else looks so nice up there and level and lush and even. And then we've got this womp 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 section right here. But it is growing. It is growing. It is like starting to heal over, and you can still see kind of some of the holes in there. So I'm so proud of him for figuring that out, because, well, he's smart and I love him. That's basically it. But anyways, thank you all so much for bearing with me. This was a long tour. I feel like it was long overdue, and we definitely missed some highlights earlier this season. But anyway, life is short, kids grow fast, and gardens grow every year. So anyway, I hope y'all have a great evening. And that is all, y'all. Have a sunny day.